when you have these guys go on these shows and say things, they haven't done the work. So now you talk about he had to go places. So you telling me in life, if I'm in a position to where things aren't getting better and there's a pressure and an expectation on me to actually be better, and I have to be dependent of someone else
who won't trade J.J. Hickson for Amari Stoudemire,
making decisions for me that my career is up against, you're telling me to sit there? Or is it the right thing to do to go elsewhere? Are you saying go elsewhere where you have to climb this mountain? And what are you talking about? That makes no sense. So going to Miami, I was one person that was against it in the moment, but in hindsight, it was the absolute right thing to do, and you win.
All right, y'all. So Rich Paul came out and spoke on the negativity that LeBron gets for jumping on teams while Michael Jordan had a better situation in Chicago. And man, oh man, social media is cooking Rich Paul. But before we get into the comments, let's play the clip. Let's get into it.
Those people were brought to the team by the decision makers
GM
on the team.
Yeah.
That's not Michael. Michael was not the decision maker. Michael was a player. I don't think Michael decided who came where. Scotty was drafted there. Horace Grant was drafted there. You go and get at the second act of
Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc.
Tony Kukoc was drafted there. You added guys.
Ron Harper later on.
B.J. Armstrong, etc. So when guys have these conversations, and I hate to make it about LeBron because in my position, but it is what it is. We have to talk about it. It just makes no sense to me to say these type of things. You can say that, yes, Michael was successful because the pieces that were placed around him, he never had to leave. They replenished, and they were able to, I believe, grow together, and all the pieces made sense and they fit. They put the triangle offense in, and Michael, his growth came from being open and willing to play within a system, because that system
to trust his teammates
allowed him
Phil Jackson in the triangle.
That system allowed him to develop the trust in his teammates and also to become very efficient. They simplified things great. That's not a knock against LeBron, right? Because I would say this. On the other hand,
is this the research you were doing?
Yeah, and it's no offense to anybody, but on the other hand, the 2006-7 team that a 22-year-old took to the finals, Shannon Brown, Daniel Gibson, Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, right? Zydrunas, Damon Jones, Dwayne Jones, Daniel Marshall, Ira Newble, Pavlovich, Scott Pollard, Eric Snow, Verjao, and David Wesley.
And it's not a finals team. It's not a finals team.
And they went up against Duncan.
It's not even
Ginobili,
a team that should go on a playoff run.
Parker, etc.
Even if you replace LeBron James with an all-star caliber player, that team does not go on a deep run in the playoffs.
No, replace him with any first team All NBA in this current and back then.
No, there's some guys who could at least take them on a run in a weaker conference, but maybe not to the final. But like that's
okay.
That and the Sixers team Iverson took to the finals are the two worst finals teams.
But okay, so you talk about coaches, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the coaches on that staff: Hank Egan, Melvin Hunt, Chris Gent, Kuster, Kenny Nat, Mike Malone. Mike Malone became a head coach. Melvin Hunt probably could have become a head coach, just never got the job, never got the opportunity. And Chris Gent is still coaching, stayed coaching. Now, let's go to the I think it's the 2009 team. Gibson, Hickson, Ilgauskas, Darnell Jackson, Trey Johnson, Terrence Kinsey, Sasha Pavlovich, Joe Smith, Wally Zerbiak, Verjao, Ben Wallace, Delonte West, Jawad Williams, Mo Williams, Lorenzen Wright.
We got some names on that team.
Mo Williams became an all-star, right?
Yep. You
As a
rattled
second-round
off
pick.
4, 5, 6 names there that were on championship teams at one point, or else were all-stars, or else were very good players.
Yeah, but not
But
on
not
this
in
team.
right, not in the moment
They
that
wasn't.
had.
These guys wasn't in their prime. Ben Wallace
Look,
wasn't
this
in
is
his
the thing
prime.
I'll say about what Stark said, Rich.
No, but wait. Before you
Yeah.
say it, let me finish. And then obviously the 2010 team, there was Shaq, who was at the end of his career, Antoine Jameson, Cedric Jackson, Darnell Jackson again, Danny Green, who was a rookie or whatever. You had Mo, Sebastian Telfair, etc. Leon Poe. The point I'm making is when you have these guys go on these shows and say things, they haven't done the work. So now you talk about he had to go places. So you telling me in life, if I'm in a position to where things aren't getting better and there's a pressure and an expectation on me to actually be better, and I have to be dependent of someone else
Who won't trade J.J. Hickson for Amari Stoudemire.
making decisions for me that my career is up against. You're telling me to sit there, or is it the right thing to do to go elsewhere? Are you saying go elsewhere where you have to climb this mountain? And what are you talking about? That makes no sense. So going to Miami, I was one person that was against it in the moment, but in hindsight, it was the absolute right thing to do, and you win, right? Because now I get to make the choice. I didn't make the choice to get drafted. I was the number one player. I was drafted by the team with the number one pick. It's up to that team to do certain things. Then coming back, different dynamic. Now I'm better educated. I understand what it means to win. I have different representation. I'm educated differently on the situation. And yes, what are the bright spots when you're going to look? If I'm going to look for a house and I have kids, what am I looking at? School district. I'm looking at crime. I'm looking at layout, et cetera, so on and so forth. I'm looking at property value, all those things. So going to another team, of course I'm gonna look at the positives of it. And in that case, it was Kyrie
Actually, what
Irving, and you
LeBron
can build
did
from there.
What LeBron
All right, so y'all heard what Rich Paul had to say, and obviously many people are cooking him in the comments. We're gonna get into the comments, by the way, and honestly, he made some decent points, right? But here's my take on this whole thing, right? You see, the mystique of Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan set the standard for future generations because you have to understand his career. It's the perfect career. He was drafted. You know, he became this top player and won multiple MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years. You know, dunk contest, and he did all that and won 6 championships, and he did all that with one franchise. And because Michael sort of kind of created the blueprint for, you know, the modern day player today to, you know, play a certain way, you know, being a guard, you know, a score first sort of kind of score first guard, he set the standard. So for NBA fans worldwide, right? They have this, like, I guess you can say, appreciation for players who stick it out with one franchise and win championships, because to them that's more authentic, right? You could look at Dirk, you could point to Dirk Nowitzki, you can point to Dwayne Wade, he went to the Bulls, but sort of kind of Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant for an example, Tim Duncan, and Steph Curry, I believe, will be with the Warriors. Michael Jordan created the standard that, look, bro, you gotta thug it out, man. Now I do understand the other side where it's like, how can a player like a top player will get blamed if the team loses, but again, it's up to the front office to make the decisions to, you know, put the player in a position to, you know, compete and, you know, be successful. So I can see both sides, but Michael Jordan just he put up this standard to where if you jumping on different teams, bro, like NBA fans, at least majority of them, aren't really gonna like. There's gonna be this like knock on your career because you are jumping ship, right? But honestly, you can look at it both ways. But let's get into the comments because a lot of people were cooking Rich Paul, right? Somebody put Jordan's situation. We'll start here. Jordan's situation was better because he stuck it out. James always left a franchise after a loss and depleted resources. He always had to have a couple big names to play with. He always had to have his coach. James got what he wanted on his teams. That's why they failed at making dynasties. Am I tripping? Yeah, there we go. Dynasties. He says James wasn't a good GM. Now, somebody responded to this comment, right? And I thought it was pretty interesting. He said Jordan's situation by the end of his rookie deal incentivized him to stay. He locked himself into a long-term deal with the team that had assets. He didn't stick things out. The front office had an actual vision. LeBron went through 2 cycles of a front office that expected to win because they had LeBron, which, you know, people are going to have their own opinion, right? But let's get into some other comments. Somebody says, Rich needs to explain why, if things were so bad, why his boy had to bounce. Why did he run straight back after being on a team that went to 4 straight finals, Miami Heat, with a Hall of Fame president and future Hall of Fame coach, along with stars in Wade and Bosh? Try another one, Rich. Your boy was a chronic team hopper and opportunist. Let's see if somebody else replies to this. So somebody replies, he says, he went back because he wanted to win a championship for his home state. And when he left, they sucked and were able to draft top talent, something they didn't do his first time there. Pretty simple concept if you're not a biased LeBron hater. So he obviously had to clap back and said, right, it was so wholesome he left again when the assets were spent to a Lakers team who traded all their assets. It's a simple concept if you're not a Stan boy groupie. And he responded and says, or he left because he wanted to go raise his fam in LA and chill out. There were plenty better options than LA when he went there in 2018. You think you're saying something, but you're not saying much, and you making us Jamaicans, whatever. Anyways, but yeah, man, a lot of people disagree with Rich Paul, and you know, people have their own opinion on that. But I honestly think there's 2 sides to it. Obviously, I think it's fucked up that the front office can at any moment, you know, dictate a player's, you know, future, you know what I'm saying? But the minute a player decides to, you know, put his future in his own hands, it's a problem. But let me know what you guys think about this topic in particular. Do you think Rich Paul makes a solid point? Should LeBron be criticized because he team hopped? Let me know what you guys think. See you in the next one. Peace.